Hey, y'all, I'm Shane Sams, host of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Super excited to be back with you again this week. Man, I got a great story for you guys. You guys are going to love this interview. I'm talking to a Flipped Lifestyle community member named Lizzie today from England, and she has an incredible story. She was listening to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast for years, and she was just scared to take the leap. Are there any of you out there like that? I bet there's some of you listening right now, and you're like, oh, gosh, that's me, Shane. Well, she finally got inspired to just do it, to just go out and get fired up and launch her membership site. And she took that literally. She launched a membership on a pre-sale page. She didn't even have an audience. She didn't even have an email list. She didn't even have a blog, a podcast, or a YouTube channel. She just posted it on Facebook and boosted some ads. And all of a sudden, she got 40, 60, 80, almost 100 members almost overnight in her membership for special education teachers. This is an incredible story of somebody taking their life by the reins, having the courage to throw some mud on the wall to see what stuck. And we're going to talk about that journey today of how she built those first 100 members, how she's serving those members now, and how she is going to grow that thing to 1,000 members. And this has all happened, guys, in less than 90 days. From 90 days from idea to her basically coming on this podcast, she's built a membership of 100 members paying her every single month. You're going to love Lizzie. She's so hilarious. She's so entertaining. There's going to be a lot of energy in this podcast. You're going to learn a lot about what it takes to overcome those fears so that you can chase your online dream as well. So without further ado, here's Lizzie and her amazing story of getting to almost 100 members in 90 days. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. Super excited to talk to another member of the Flipped Lifestyle community. And we are excited today because we are celebrating a launch success story. I want to welcome to the program Lizzie. What's going on, Lizzie? How you doing today?
Hi. How are you doing? Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited. So pleased to be here.
Now, everybody listening probably realizes you are not from Kentucky like I am. So where are you? Where are you at in the world right now?
I'm not from Kentucky, although I'd like to go there. I'm from England. I live in the Midlands in the UK, near Birmingham. So yeah, I'm a long way from Kentucky.
That's all right. That's all right. We're all connected together in this small world now through the power of podcasting. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit. We got a lot to cover today. This is an amazing story of accidental is the not word, but it's like someone who's like, I'll try it. And then like, whoa, I got a bunch of people to join. How did that happen? So tell everybody a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your background, like before you decided to chase this online business dream. And then tell us just a little bit about the launch of your online business and how that happened.
Okay, so I've been a teacher for about 11 years. I was in business before that, and I used to work as a sort of business development salesperson in a sort of FMCG and fast-moving consumer goods kind of industry. So I've always had a bit of hustle in the genes, but I became a teacher because I really wanted to just work with children and help people to develop. And within my teaching career, I've become interested in working with children with special educational needs or any kind of learning differences. So I trained as a special educational needs coordinator about 5 or 6 years ago. And then about 4 years ago, I trained as a specialist dyslexia teacher. So I work with, I'm a learning support teacher. I'm a specialist dyslexia teacher and assessor. So I can diagnose dyslexia. And I've been doing that for 4 years, something like that, 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So I always have this kind of desire to really help a lot of people. And I find that I get really overexcited about trying to help people. If anyone asks for my help, I get like,
I would not know what that's like. Get overexcited about stuff like that. I have no clue what you're talking about here. I can't relate. So
yeah. So I've learned to kind of rein that in a bit over the years, because people are like, what is wrong with this person? Just chill out. I don't need that much help. So I've kind of reined it in a bit. And I thought, I've tried lots of different kind of entrepreneurial things over the last probably 10 years. My husband would say that I try a new business every 6 months, get bored of it and move on, So I've got that tag.
It's like the aliens from Independence Day. You just come in, destroy the planet, go on to the next one. We're done with this one. Let's just go. Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, so I've got that tag to live with. But basically, I've been listening to your podcast for a long time. And obviously, because you're teachers and I'm a teacher, it's really easy to relate to it. And I listened to it probably the first time was about 4 years ago. And I've been listening to it, 3 years ago. I don't know. Maybe it was your videos then rather than the podcast. But I came across you guys. I was learning from you. And then I went on a Tony Robbins live event in October. And I went through this 4-day live event, and it was basically all about, I thought this is never going to work. It's rubbish. Anyway, it absolutely got me pumped. And I thought, why have I never pursued this thing that I want to do, which is set up a membership for special educational needs teachers who are overwhelmed, overworked, find it hard to have any support. There's lots of different processes and techniques all over the place. There isn't one place for it. Why don't I just set up a membership? I've been wanting to do it for 2 years. I just keep doubting myself. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So on the last day of this Tony Robbins event, I sat at my computer in my lounge and I created a Wix website. I have got some of these skills because I've obviously dabbled in so many businesses before that I've taught myself how to do all this stuff. So I built this Wix website, which took a few hours, and I put a pricing structure up there. And I did a Facebook ad that I boosted, and I'd heard about the founding member launch idea from yourselves and from, Stu McLaren, and loads of people have talked about it. And I've listened to your success stories, and I thought, I'm just going to do it. So I did it. And then the next day I was at the supermarket in the car park, and I got a ping on my iPhone, and it said, "You've got a new member." And I thought, oh my word. What am I going to do? Because I'd put on this founding member website, join now. Basically, we're not launching for a month, but join as a founding member to support the idea, to help us grow and direct us, and sort of give us ideas of what you want the membership to look like. And join us to show us that you want this and that, we can help you. And I sort of put the idea out there. And yeah, basically. So, and then so I gave myself 4 weeks. I thought in 4 weeks, I know I could figure out, I'd already played around with Kajabi. I knew I could sort of which theme I wanted to use and who I wanted to buy it from and that kind of thing. I thought, in 4 weeks, I could, before work, get up like 5:30 in the morning. I could do an hour and a half before work. And I know in 4 weeks, I could get this website and this membership built out enough that I could make it happen, kind of thing. So I did. And then by the end of the 4 weeks, I had 42 members.
Oh man, that is y'all need to watch this one on YouTube, guys. You got to go check the video out on the YouTube channel. Go to fliplifestyle.com because we're sitting here cackling and dying laughing at this because it's so funny. You said it took me 3 years listening to Flip Lifestyle podcast, and I hear all these success stories, and then finally that one day you're like, forget it. This is the day that you do it, and that's okay. Like it's okay. Like there's no regrets. It just took that to get you to the point where you could pre-launch this thing, which is what you did. That's exactly how Jocelyn launched her community. She had nothing created. It was a promise, basically. It was an IOU. It was a big fat IOU. It was like, you joined today and I'm going to make this stuff for you. And now when you get 49 members, that adds a little fuel to the fire of getting everything done and getting it out there, doesn't it? That was probably a little bit, but that was the good kick in the rear you needed to actually build the thing, right?
Well, I tell you what, it made me get up at 5:15 every morning before work.
I don't want to give my money back.
I was like, I need to get something built. I cannot let this fail. This is my window. This is the time. I need to do this. This is going to happen. And I kept, even now, like I still sort of quite often think, who am I to do this? That just kept going through my mind all the time. Who am I to do this? I am not, I haven't been in that role for a long time. I don't know everything there is to know. And I just heard you guys say, it's about joining the conversation and just putting your perspective. You don't have to know everything about every single little thing. And that just made me think, you know what, I'm just joining the conversation. I'm giving a different perspective. But yeah, having those 42 members made me get out of bed pretty quick every morning before the kids woke up. And I'd be like tinkering away, trying to build this membership in the background on the Kajabi.
As fast as possible. You didn't know your fingers could go that fast, right? You're just typing away for the kids to get out because that's going to like stop everything. Listen, when Jocelyn launched, I always tell this story. When Jocelyn launched Elementary Librarian, she'd only been a librarian for like 2.5 years. And like then she became the elementary librarian because she decided to help join and lead the conversation, you know?
Yeah. But I've always wondered, and I've never figured it out. What is an elementary librarian? We don't have those in the UK.
Okay, that's hilarious. I never even thought about that before. Like, okay, so in America, I know we call our schools different. Like grades 0 through I say 0. The 1st through 5th is like called elementary school. Okay. So in an elementary school, there is a librarian. There is someone who runs the library, and they teach reading, media information technology, like how to Google stuff and know it's real and like stuff like that. So that person is in charge of the entire school. So when a kid wants to come and get a book to take home, they check it out of the library. When they want it, they have classes in there every day. Like each class will rotate through in the week to the librarian. So she has to, it's a weird job because, you know, like when you're in elementary school, it's kind of like special education. You deal with all kinds of grades. You might have 5th grade in one week a day and kindergarten in the next.
Yeah.
So Jocelyn created lesson plans and resources for a very lonely job because most schools only have one librarian, right?
Okay.
Same thing. Overwhelmed, overworked, and they just needed a leader to help lead them through the thing. But that's now everyone who listens to this show all around the world will actually understand what an elementary librarian was. I never would have thought that you would have to explain that. You know? So when I say football, did you think I was coaching soccer all these years? That's what I want to know.
I can relate to that because I was a PE teacher, so I knew all about that. So
okay, got it. I got it. Okay, we're on the same page here. We're on the same page. Hey, listen, when I was a football coach, my first year as a head coach, I was 0-10. I lost every game my first year, and we got pretty good. We got okay. We weren't like the best team in the world, but again, you don't have to be the world's foremost expert, champion, winner to be able to lead a group of people who need some support and help. And that's the power of the membership model, you know?
Yeah. And the way that I've got around that feeling of, you know, who am I to do this is I've basically talked people who are experts in other fields to come and help me do it. So I've got like a panel of experts, you know, a specialist in ADHD, a specialist in autism spectrum, a specialist in occupational therapy, you know, so I've got a panel of experts who come in and they help me do these weekly webinars and things. So I kind of just lead it and hope that they're going to provide something really good. And then I make it look good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it works.
And you're getting the rub from those experts, right? Like that you even would introduce these people to your audience. So, okay. So you launched the membership. And then it says, so I'm looking at your form here you filled out. It said, then I listened to more Flipped Lifestyle podcasts. And at the end of December, which is like December 2020, guys, we're recording this in 2021. But like you had you heard the dollar trial. Like, let's dollar trial. How does that work? And it says you got 39 more members at your second swing at bat. How did that feel? All of a sudden, all those people joined.
Yeah. So we just finished Christmas and I had to go. We've got a huge lockdown over here and everything. And I had to go and see my brother. And I was in the car. I was like, I'm going to listen to the Flip Flight Lifestyle podcast. I'm going to learn loads of stuff tonight because I needed more motivation. I'd just come out of Christmas. And I heard you telling somebody about the dollar trial. And I thought, I could definitely do the dollar trial. That would be, you know, because I'd kind of I hadn't really increased I think I'd gone from 42 to 45 members. But, you know, I hadn't really increased. So I thought, I'm just going to do the dollar trial. This was like the 28th of December, 2020. So I was like, I'm going to start that on the 1st. I'm going to do 2 weeks of £1 trial for, I think I did, £1 trial for 30 days. And I just did a boosted Facebook ad because I don't really know how to do proper Facebook ads, which is one of my questions for you.
Hey, listen, that's okay. That's okay. The boost works fine.
And then I got up to... So in that 14 days, I got like another 45 members. So now I'm just terrified.
Oh, yeah. You're just right. I mean, this all started. So did you launch like in November, October, late October?
1st of November.
All right. So we're like right now, we're like 90 days in from launch.
Yeah.
Right? And you're already almost at 100 members, just roaring ahead. You're my kind of people, Liz. You're my kind of people. I like hanging out with people like you that just kick the tires and light the fires and push forward. Right. But it is terrifying. Now, I got two questions here. I know. So I think I know one reason you're terrified, but also in your form, it said that you were keeping this a secret for a while from someone important in your life because you didn't I guess you didn't want them to see another business you were launching that was going to just be left in the waste bin of history. So tell me more about keeping this on the down low and who were you hiding it from?
So I've always, if you ask people who are close to me what I'm like, they would say that I'm a real entrepreneur, but I never make anything work because I get bored too fast. So over probably the last 15 years, I would say there must have been 10 things I've tried to, get stick, to make money, to make us change our life as a family and make our next million, And I've got so many, I've got just always got ideas. And my husband, Simon, is really patient and he's always really supportive of my ideas. And then as he started to see like the flicker of the flame that goes out as soon as I start to get bored with it. And he starts to say, you're getting bored, aren't you? You're going to ditch this in a minute, aren't you? I can see you're not going to keep doing this. Don't do that. You've spent money on it. Don't stop this. So all those other businesses, he's seen me kind of go, no, it's not going to work, move on, forget it. And so this one, because this one just feels different and it feels so special and it feels like what I was meant to do. I do this in my daily job anyway. I love that. I just love my job. I love what I'm doing here in the membership. And I thought, I'm not going to tell him about this one. I'm not going to tell him about this idea. I'm just going to wait till I'm turning over like £1,000 a month. And then I'll tell him, because then when I do tell him, he won't be like, oh, for God's sake, what are you, why not?
Not again.
Don't start another one. If I'm turning over £1,000 a month, he'll be like, oh, that's pretty impressive. Well done, honey. And that's exactly what happened. In fact, I got a bit impatient because I felt like I was lying to him doing all these webinars every week and he didn't ask any questions.
He probably had an idea what was going on. Let's be realistic. Come on.
Well, he did at one point. I mean, I've got this huge poster on my wall saying what SEN teachers want with a massive mind map, and he didn't clock that. So I don't know.
So you have told him now, right?
I have told him, yeah. So I got to so when I hit 90 members, I thought, I've got to tell him, because I tell you what it was. The day that I decided I would apply for your podcast, I thought, I've got to tell him, because if he sees, he may not ever see it online, but if he did, if he saw me online, I was like, I've just got to tell him.
Your picture by me. Who's this guy? Show it, and like your IP would be tagged where you've been to our website, so I would totally be showing ads to him on his phone, right? That's amazing. I told him, and he was very supportive, very pleased. So that's good. What a great person. What a great person. And the thing is though, like you did though, a lot of people come to us and they're like, well, how do I prove to my spouse or my partner? How do I prove that I can do this? And we're like, you prove you can do it. Like the only way to make people believe is to show them. Right. Yeah. And you did that. And that's a great way to do that. It's funny when you were talking, like, how people say, like, how people say, I'm a serial entrepreneur, right? Like I just start businesses over and over again. I call it like, I actually call people like maybe me, and I'll lump me in with you, because I'm the same way. Okay. We're more like breakfast cereal entrepreneurs. It's like, this week Cocoa Puffs, next week Cheerios. How about some cornflakes next week? Like, we're breakfast cereal entrepreneurs. We just keep trying new things until we're like, you know what? I'm going to stick with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch for a couple weeks, right? Yeah, that's completely true. But then I think that's one of the reasons this works so well, is because there's so many different directions you can go off in within it. Yes. But, I don't think I'm going to get bored of this. It's brilliant. I love it. So yeah. The membership model has many forks in the road. And the cool thing is, like, you don't have to stop what you're doing to change what you're doing in the membership model. Like, if you want to create a new cool resource, you can. If you're just kind of playing in a really giant sandbox that has unlimited options almost for you. Yeah. And that's why I love the podcast format as well, because what really, like, and I enjoy is talking to people. I just love talking to people. And like, like this conversation we're having is already hysterically amazing, and like we're just having a blast, and it's a totally different conversation than I just had 2 hours ago on another podcast. So there's just so many ways you can go. It keeps it from getting boring. So like, okay, so you've got this thing, and I love the I'm terrified. I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says that I'm terrified. Hi, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, so you're terrified right now. You got all these members. You started making content. You got these things happening. So like what are you terrified about right now? Like what's the fear? What's the mindset? Like what's happening right now that has you? I mean, excited and terrified, there's a fine line. So like what's pushing you over to the terrified side a little bit?
I think probably the responsibility. It's probably linked a little bit to my kind of letting the light go out on previous ideas, like so now, like I'm all in on this. I can't just go, you know what, it's not going to work and walk away now. I've got all these people that are, coming, they're emailing me, they're making comments in my membership about the stuff I'm putting on there. I'm getting good feedback, but I think it's the commitment side of it. And the fact that actually this is finally happening, this is what I've been dreaming about for years. And suddenly something that I've created has got traction as quick as I would like it to get traction, because I'm the most impatient person in the world, which is probably why I've never actually stuck with anything for very long, because it hasn't got enough traction as quickly as I'd like it to, so I think because it's the commitment really, but also what could be like change. And, I love my job. I want to stay in my job. I'm not in the position where someone would say, well, what do you want to do to improve your life? I've got a great life. We live on a farm. We've got 2 great kids. We have horses outside. We've got enough money to live. We've both got jobs we love, my husband and I. Like, that's rare. We know we're lucky. So it feels like I'm sort of changing something for the future, but at the same time, I don't really need to. So it's a bit of a weird situation. But yeah, I'm delighted and excited and terrified all at once.
At the same time. So there's a couple of things, like one thing that we do talk a lot about changing jobs and things like that. But flipped lifestyle to us is I control every minute of my day. And I have an opportunity to love every minute of my day. If I choose to spend that time at a job I love, that's great because I choose it. And if I choose to do this, and also too, like memberships provide a couple of different cool things. One is, you can make more money, which is always going to make your life a little bit better. It just is. Like people, I don't know. I as many times as I've heard say it, like, money won't buy you happiness. Yeah, but it'll buy you a jet ski, and jet skis are awful fun to ride, right? Like, I mean, it's good. Come on, it's going to help. Right, having more choices is never a bad thing, people.
Never.
Right. So like that's going to be cool. And the great thing is you can have the exact amount of money and impact you want. Like you don't have to grow this thing to 1,000 people that replaces your income to quit your job. Maybe it's if I could serve 200 people, we could, increase our income 30-40%, and I still get to go to work and help these kids every day. And then I get to come home and help other people like me impact their kids every day. And I get to have these conversations like this. This becomes the thing that I like to do with my free time. Right. Also, too, growing that fast is scary. It's why we usually recommend like putting the brakes on and learning and how to manage it first. But there is no brake in your car, I can tell. So like you've already got 100 people almost. Like that can be really intimidating really fast. So I would say right now, the thing you have to do with your money too is like you're probably going to have to get a little bit of help somehow, like a customer service agent, a VA, just somebody that can take anything off of you that's not the things that Lizzie likes to do. Because you need to be able to talk to these people. You need to be able to serve the people. You need to be able to lead the people. You don't need to be checking for people's passwords and helping people find things and asking people what they want you to make and all that stuff, right? So that's probably going to alleviate some of that, because most of the time what I find when entrepreneurs get bored, it's because they have left their zone of genius, they have settled for their zone of competence, or they're going into their zone of incompetence, which we can do anything, but some things suck our soul out, right? And even the competent things, like I am very like creative. I love to do like copywriting and things like that. But like, that's not my zone of genius. My zone of genius is getting people fired up and moving people forward. Right. So we try to keep me in that enthusiasm role as much as possible in the company. So you've got to figure out like, what is my zone of genius that I never get bored with? And now that I've got a little bit of extra money, let's go ahead and just kind of maybe start thinking about a little support now so that we can keep that going. And also one more thing on this. Hey, look, I know there's responsibility. I got lots of people that look to me on this podcast and in our community. But the bottom line is, if this didn't serve me and my family, I could always turn it off, right? Yeah. You still have that control, and you don't have to have this guilt or problem with that. As long as you are impacting people in a way you want to, and you don't feel like you need to pivot, you don't have to. But if you ever did, it's your business. It's your website. You can turn it off as easy as you can turn it on, especially since you have other income that you are fine with, you know? Yeah. So don't ever feel trapped by your business. That can be really scary. And I'll tell you when that happens. It happens when you attach your success with the outcomes of your members. Like our job as a membership owner, and once you get to 100 people, I mean, imagine 100 people crammed into your house right now. How many people that really is? It's overwhelming, right? Like you got 100 people that are like, tell us what to do next, right? Like that's crazy. But like when you get that, when you think about that, right? That can be like really, really, really overwhelming because you're like, oh my gosh, not only do I have to be in charge of my student success, but their student success. That's not why you do this. We provide people opportunity and resources. That's how we make an impact. And then we have to separate it from their outcome, and that the guilt goes away then. It's on you to do what, like you, for example, are a great example. 3 years you listened to our podcast and didn't do this. That's cool. That was your choice. I just kept coming every week in your ears, every week, providing value, every week, telling you should do it, every week, showing you a success story. And then the day you were there and the day someone else, Tony, helped inspire the nudge, right? All that work I'd done, you took the leap and you did it. And it was amazing. And I'm proud of you. And I'm so happy for you. But like, I was never in it for that moment. I was just there providing the opportunity. And that's what you're doing with your members too. And then once you do that, everything's okay. You can just let it go. You can keep it going. You can grow it. I know a lot of people that are like, I got 100 members. I'm cool. I get to work 2 hours a day and I don't care. I'm good. Yeah.
But right? I want 1,000.
Yeah, I know. I had a feeling. I had a feeling that you did. Like, I didn't think I guess this is a good line of thought here. Why do you want 1,000?
Well, I mean, it would be great to, I suppose it would be great to have what I'd love to do. I'd love to say to my husband, you know what? I know you love your job, but you don't have to go to work today if you don't want. You can just stay and work on the farm and do things you want to do if you want. It's about the freedom, I think, isn't it? And the security of the future, because with everything that's gone on in the last 12 months with COVID and everything, the way that the world is, for me, it's a bit of a safety net. I feel like, we've got our kids going through, private education. It's expensive. I'd love to be able to just pay for that without worrying about what's happening to me in my job. I think it's about that security as well, and knowing that I'm doing something, a tiny thing every day that actually could grow into something big enough that we would have the choices, and at the moment, things are great. I'm not unhappy. I'm very happy, and we're all happy and things are great. But maybe in 5, 6, 7 years time, I could go, you know what, we can just jump out if we want. And that's cool. We've got the resources to do that. Yeah.
That's amazing. That is a powerful why. And I think it's a new why that a lot of people going forward are going to have as we've went through an event in all of our lives that has been catastrophic and world changing. And it is nice that it's the same reason why we keep another business. Like we have another membership. We still keep it active because we always want choices. We always want backup plans to the backup plans. And this is a great way to do it, is you get to do things you love. And if the budget drops and if you lose your job and if this and if that, all these ifs that we have now seen behind the curtain in our society, there are a lot of ifs. Yeah. Like it makes a lot of sense to have something of your own. Everybody, I've always said that you need 100 people to pay you $50 a month to make $60,000 a year, right? Yeah. I think everybody should have a side hustle that's bringing in at least half of your paycheck that could be ramped up at all times, because you can't trust the government, you can't trust the economy, and you can't trust your employer. Not that they're bad people. I'm not saying that. Like this isn't a conspiracy theory show, but it's like it's not their fault. Like what if something happens and they have no choice? But you have choices when you take control of yourself.
Yeah, or what if something happens to you or your partner? Like we can have all the insurance in the world, but my husband is a welder. He makes big, huge gates and staircases. He talks so often about, I was really close to that steel beam hitting me in the leg today. And I'm like, oh my God,
Don't even tell me. Just come home and be like, "Yeah, great day at work." Oh, geez.
Yeah. It's a plan B or plan C. I like to have backup plans on backup plans. Security and safety and sleep at night. And also, I love it. It's exciting. It's got me through lockdown. Having this plan and developing this strategy.
Hey, listen, it's the funnest hobby in the world, right? I remember all the things I used to do to try to occupy my time, like after work and stuff. And when I figured this stuff out, I was like, why would you do anything else? Forget games. This keeps score with money. That's amazing. And impact. This keeps score with impact, right? We were figuring it out 100%. One day. I was trying to figure out how many members our members had one day. And we were just going through people we knew about, and it starts getting into the 10,000s and the 20,000s. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, what a cool, like, that's insane. Like, there's like tens of thousands of people paying hundreds of people because of what we do, And it's the same thing. Like the school thing is even crazier. I'm telling you, it probably hasn't hit you yet, but like our lesson plans are used in like hundreds of schools in all across America. And I started doing the math, like, okay, if each elementary librarian had 500 students on average a week that she saw or he saw, and then you multiply that by years and you multiply that by members, all of a sudden you're like, I'm pretty sure we taught 10% of Americans how to read. I'm pretty sure that happened, right? It's like it's like unbelievable. Like when you start thinking about the impact that you can make when you do this stuff. All right, so let's talk about what other things are holding you back right now? So you've got the freedom to build this into whatever you want. I know you will. I know you're going to be on this podcast again in a year going, I got to 1,000. What next, Shane? You may be on Membership Masters before it's all over. I'm just telling you, we might have to reserve you a spot in December for the podcast. But one thing you said here was interesting was like, you said one of the obstacles that you're struggling with is, will these people like it? How will I know? Will they leave? And you said you'd gotten your first couple cancellations recently. So how did that feel? And why does that worry you right now?
Well, I did my £1 trial, and I've listened to you say on your podcast, if you keep 50 to 60% of your dollar trials or whatever, or your free trials, then that's about right, So I kind of got that in my head, and so that's fine. And a couple of people have left, and I felt at the time, it feels like a kick in the teeth, although I know it's not a personal thing. I know this sounds like I'm blowing your trumpet, which I kind of am, but I have you in my head saying,
I accept it full-heartedly.
I have you in my head saying, that's fine, I don't need you, bye-bye, I'm obviously not right, see you later. So I have that in my head when they're going, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. So now I'm at the point that if I'm going to start losing a few people, you've talked about stacking your numbers and stacking your membership and making sure you're overcoming the churn. And that's the point that I'm at, so I did the sort of, the founding member launch. Then I did the £1 trial for 2 weeks. And I've listened to you talk about cycle your promotions, do your 33% off your quarterly price, do your 50% off your annual member price, do your £1 trial. And I've just finished my 33% off the quarterly subscription. And I got probably 6 or 7 members from that, but it wasn't nearly as exciting as the £1 trial, Sure. So I'm kind of at the point now, like, right, I've got 90 members. Yeah, I am freaked out by the fact that I've got 90 members, but I'm aiming for 150 by the end of May. So if I want to get to 150 by the end of May, then, what do I kind of feel like I should just go back to the £1 trial. Like
you can. So basically what you're in now is the promotion cycle. Okay. So once you launch a membership, and you actually kind of said this earlier, you got the 42 or whatever, you ended up with a couple more trickling in, but you're like, I got to do something to get more members. You did a promotion and you got a bunch of members. So we plan one major promotion a month, right? And there's a lot of different ways we do that. Like, in December, we do a 12 days of Christmas and we just do a massive free trial, right? Program with bonuses so we can really get people to join. Okay. So that produced 60, 70, 80, whatever members in December, right? For that week. And then like in January, we did a price increase promotion. So we raised our prices and we tell people get in before the price increase. So we got a bunch of members that way. Yeah. February, we'll do different things every month. They change sometimes. They're pretty consistent. But the thing is, that's just the major promotion. We're always promoting and bringing our membership top of mind. Like we try to email our list 3 to 5 times a week. We're constantly trying to run new ads and really just doing content and keeping content in front of people. Like it's kind of like chipping away at everybody on the list all the time. You listened 3 years. You were just sitting around watching and finally you snapped and you went, right? Yeah. So now you're you're a marketer. That's what you are now. You're not just a membership owner. You're not just building it. You're not just launching it. So it's using these promotions to stir up interest. Some weeks you're going to get 6 people on a quarterly plan. Then all of a sudden, like I just interviewed this morning, a lady named Jennifer Bradley, who's been on the podcast before. She's in the education space, actually. She's been on like 3 or 4 times. She's grown her membership every time. We did a promotion that we came up with on the air while I was interviewing her. She did it back in September, and she added 800 people to her membership. She had 800 free trials because of this real one specific promotion, and like 500 of them stayed. So it was like, but these things are cyclical, and it's kind of like the stock market. If you're in the stock market and your money goes up, like let's say you put $1,000 in at the beginning of the year, and at the end of the year, there's $2,000. All those gains probably happened on about 15 days. There was about 15 days where the market moved, and you just have to stay in the market so you're there when it moves. If you pull out and run, that's the promotion game. You wake up every day and you say, how am I going to get some more members today? How am I going to get one more member than I lose? And now you run promotions constantly. You constantly give value with a PS. Don't forget to join the membership. And you're just always there right when that person really needs you to be. Okay. Yeah. So your big things you've got to focus on right now are, how do I grow my email list? Right. How do I make content that grows my email list? That's your number one concern. Then how do I market to the email list to get them to join every day? Right. So if I'm adding 10, if I'm adding, 100 emails a month, and then I'm getting, 20 of those people to join, and then I'm keeping 15 of them and I lose 11. Okay. Well, I win. Right. Yeah. That's the game you're playing now. So it's just constantly being innovative, having fun, staying top of mind, doing big promotions each month. Now you can leave that dollar trial open all the time, like as well, if you want to. Like you could just have it.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. It's actually a good thing to do, but it changes your promotion schedule. Because now, how do you promote the dollar trial? Well, it's always there. Well, maybe for a week each month on a holiday, I offer a bonus video that's not in the membership that people can get if they take the dollar trial today. Right. Then maybe it's, I need to sell an annual plan this week. Oh, maybe next month I'll sell the quarterly. But I always do a quarterly sale on spring, winter, fall, and summer. Like the first day of fall, first day of spring, first day of summer. I try to move some people that way, Yeah. Yeah. So
I was wondering about doing this is one of the things I wanted to ask you, but the dollar trial, I thought, because I heard you say on another podcast, just play around with it, do what you want to do with it. And all the things I've read before from other people, about memberships is very strict of kind of like open and close,
Wrong.
And I never liked that feeling, because I just thought, well, when I'm closed, what's exciting about that? If I'm closed, I can't get any new members when I'm closed. That's rubbish. Yeah. And then I heard you say on the day that I heard you suggest the dollar trial, and you were saying, just play around with it. You can do what you want. It's up to you. And that made me think, I could do what I want. Like, that's fine. If I want,
it is your business.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do what I tell you to do. Do something else. You'll probably figure something out smarter than me eventually. Right.
No. But then I was thinking, well, maybe what about doing the dollar trial like in the first week of every month or something like that? Like, I don't know. What do you think? What's the best way?
I think anything that lets you pattern interrupt your followers, right? So like if your monthly membership is always open and it's just the monthly price coming in, then a way to create scarcity would be to open and close a dollar trial. And then maybe later in the month, you could still sell an annual discount or a quarterly discount to get some cash flow, right? Yeah. If that feels good, then do it that way. Like, so you can leave it open. It's always open at full monthly price. That'll get some sales trickling in. You can always promote that like all the time. And then once a month, you have a dollar trial. And then by the time the next one rolls around, nobody will even remember there was a dollar trial the month before, because people aren't 90% of people are not paying attention to 90% of the things you say. That's just, they're not. So when you get in front of them at the right time, like, you'll be fine. Now, that mentality of open close comes from people who teach memberships, but they had their roots in the course sale market, the launch to launch market. Okay. And most of those people actually sell courses, not memberships. That's another thing too. So like, that's where that comes from. I'm not saying that open close doesn't work for some membership models. It does. And some people actually really like open close because they like to get it over with, get a bunch of members in. Now they only focus on retention for a couple months. But to us, it's not hard to do retention and marketing at the same time. And you may, and if someone like, what if you had decided to join our program that day or whenever you did or whatever, I don't know. And like, you didn't have, and you went there and it was like closed until January. You'd have just went on without us anyway. It wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me. I like having it open all the time, but I love the idea, like you've suggested, of cycling it. You know, it's just about being decisive enough to cycle it. And one of the questions I had was, like, could I run a $1 trial promotion, obviously a £1 trial promotion, and an annual promotion at the same time? Does that matter?
I don't recommend doing that because it's very confusing and it's hard to promote two things at the same time. You can only, like, we have a rule, like, sell one thing per email, sell one thing this week, sell one thing next week. Because if I try to like send you an email one day, you're so confused, you don't know what's going on, right? So what I try to do is I try to have an anchor date on the calendar, and each month our team meets, and I'll talk to Jocelyn and I'll talk to my mastermind, and we'll figure out like what's going on in the world. Like, how can I get in the discussion my audience is already having? Like, what's happening on their calendar? Holidays are great for this, like Black Friday, Christmas. And then you put your spin on the promotion. Like, we had a very successful sale last year. We offered this big package that had lifetime membership to the Flip Lifestyle community. And I offered it on Valentine's Day. And I made this and I made up this pitch, like, let's get married. Like, let's just put a ring on it forever. Like, why don't you, I mean, you're here, you love the Flip Lifestyle community. So why don't you just marry us and we'll just get married. We'll commit to you and you commit to us. And we had this great, it was fun, right? It was entertaining. But people loved it. And we had a bunch of lifetime members that took that big package. It was one of our best months we ever had at Flip Lifestyle. And you just get to do fun stuff like that. You can do St. Patrick's Day and do something about green. I don't know. I'm sure Jocelyn used to look at the school calendar. This is powerful. So you can look at the school curriculum and know what people are kind of like thinking about. And she would always tie her things to the school calendar. Like in the libraries in America, we have Dr. Seuss Week, where all week libraries all across the country introduce Dr. Seuss to children, right? So she always had this Dr. Seuss. There's another one called Banned Books Week, where you highlighted books that other libraries had banned to fight for free speech. So she always did Banned Books Week promotions, and there's all kinds of little things you can do. So,
that's a good idea. Yeah, so tie it to
keep you from getting bored too.
Yeah, always good.
Yeah, because you can make stuff. You just get to make stuff up every week and figure out how you're going to get people in your membership. And it's not gimmicks too. I want to, like, everyone's like, oh, it's salesy, it's gimmick. No, it's not. It's like, I have a real passion for our business, because I know what happens when people join, and you can't possibly really take it to the next level until you get in here and you're with us. So I have a responsibility to convince my people to get in here, because it changes people's lives. And you do too. You love what you do. I can hear the passion for what you do, not just your business. And like, you have a responsibility to unite the people that do what you do together, so that better outcomes happen through the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good way to look at it. That's mindset, isn't it? It makes you, that kind of makes me believe I need to do this. I need to upload more content. I need to share this. It could help 10 people. It could help 20 people. Yes. Who cares? Just get it out
and
there.
The money is the benefit from that. Like them staying another month, like our Membership Masters newsletter that we send out, which is like a promotional calendar. I
get that already.
Yeah. Like when people do the promotions in that and then they get a result, like they pay next month. That's just the byproduct of them succeeding. So when I'm writing Membership Masters, I'm thinking, how can I help our people succeed this month? And the byproduct of that will be they get more members, which will mean they'll come and continue to pay us. And that's fine.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what my live webinar is going to be on Valentine's Day. I've only got
lifetime deal. Now this year's theme, I think, in the Membership Masters newsletter is the anti-Valentine's Day sale. Yeah, I went the opposite direction. I don't think it was divorce, but I did something completely different this time. So I try to mix it up every year so we can have some fun with it. Cause I don't want to just do the same promotion every year,
Yeah, I thought it was great.
You can make up your own. So I think one thing I would like to add here is I do think it's okay to tell you to slow down a little bit. Like I don't want you to be the prairie fire and burn out fast, right? Cause I love the goal. I think your goal is reasonable and fine and it's good. Don't forget to spend some time on retention and really thinking and talking to your members. That's marketing. It's not just about the people that are coming in, it's about the people that are in. And people like us tend to focus more on how many people we can get in because we're just tell everybody, Yeah. But you need to step back and really how am I interacting with these people? How am I serving these people? How am I keeping the floor of my business high? That way you won't lose more people than you need to lose each month. Yeah,
that's a really good point. I hadn't really thought a lot about retention.
I know. Trust me. I feel you. I think we're related somehow. We're long lost cousins or something. And the gene pool somewhere way back in the 1400s in England, somebody was running around and there was some kind of night tournament going on or something. And we were I think that happened. Because
so one of the things I do is I send out a weekly wind-up email to try and tell the members what I've added in the membership each week. So I do that, and I try and kind of do that a few days ahead, and it's all automated. It goes out, and that seems to get a really good click-through rate with the members. And then, but other than that, I don't really know what they think of it. I try to do a Microsoft Forms feedback to the members to ask them, what do you think? Is there anything I can improve? What do you want to see in here? Not one person engaged.
They won't.
Yeah.
Are they in a Facebook group or how are you?
I have, I'm using the Kajabi community platform, but there's not one person that's joined in that. And I'm reluctant to go into the sort of Facebook group because of the whole management of it and everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a bit of a one-way conversation at the moment. So if you're telling me I need to concentrate on retention, which is a very valid point, then
that's how you keep members. It's one thing to get members. It's another thing. You got to keep them too. Don't forget yin yang. Got the yin yang going here. The forum is your job to populate, but you need to do something live. Even if it's just Zoom, just be a support group. Make it a support group. Don't even make it a Q&A, ask the expert. Or you could bring experts on, you could record things live and talk to some people. But I would just have a hangout. These people are probably like the rest of us. We're trapped in lockdowns and everything else. And they want to hang out with people like them and talk about virtual school and talk about things they're suffering through and talk about whatever. Maybe you just have 3 or 4 discussion starters and have a nice Zoom once a month and weave in these questions. I bet you people would show up to hang out on a Zoom.
Well, I do a weekly webinar on a Monday night, which is live. And that is when I usually either I present it about a topic and then I have a Q&A, and I do it on the webinar on Zoom so they can ask questions all the way through and they can do the chat and everything like that. And then I bring on an expert, I've got a group of experts and I kind of rotate those. That's what's been happening so far. So I do get coming? Yeah. So I'm getting probably between 10 and 20 a week. And then my kind of stats on them watching videos on replay, because then I upload that content into the membership. My stats on people watching that is quite good. So people are watching those,
So that's what they want. They definitely want some interaction. You're already doing it once a week. That's fine. Maybe you could make a hangout and you could even do a question, and maybe you can drop people in breakout rooms and they can have a little small group and bring them back in. Maybe the forum is not where your community should exist, right?
Okay.
So maybe it should be something like that, where maybe you do 2 of those webinars a month, but the other 2 are just Zoom hangouts where you discuss things that are anybody having any problems this week in their membership or whatever. And that might grow too big eventually, but breakout rooms are great for this. You can bring as many people. Because another thing about memberships, people think that everybody's going to participate, and that is just not true. You're going to have, it's 80-20 rule at all times. You're going to have a minority of people are in there doing anything, and everybody else is a lurker or not even logging in for some reason, right? Or maybe they just like content and they don't want to hang out. Maybe they want to hang out and they don't like content. It's okay. Let's just give them a wide variety of things to do. But there's some retention courses in the blueprint that talk about retention and the basics of retention, right? And just to lay out a foundation of what you need to be doing to make sure that people stay, right? How you're communicating with them. Onboarding is another thing you need to work on. Like what happens after they join? Is it just a username and password right now?
Yeah.
That's not good. Right. Exactly. You need to think out the first 30-day journey of your people. I love that you have 100 members though. You can experiment, right? Like this is great. You just roared ahead, got a bunch of members. You have no idea what's going on now. That's okay. That's okay. You got the blueprint, you got the Q&A, you got us. We're going to figure this out. It's going to be okay.
Good. Yeah.
Right. So I would say focus on retention a lot this month and get those promotions kind of ironed out. And,
there's a lot of content. I add sort of 3 new resources that are kind of templates, editable templates they can use each week. And I do the live. So they have a lot of new content every week. So it's not like they're going in there and there's nothing to do. There's loads of, it's like a library of resources already. But I was wondering about whether, I don't want to limit people because they might all be in there for different reasons, but whether there should be some sort of drip, with Kajabi, you can drip. No, don't drip. Okay. Just leave it open as a library. Okay.
Yeah. Because here's the best explanation I've ever heard this explained is a membership is like a supermarket. We want there to be a path. I want there to be a blueprint of success. Like do these things in order if you want to, like, right. But what if I go in and this week I need milk and milk's not dripping out until the 3rd thing? Like I'm not going to come back for milk. So like I need to be able, just like a supermarket, I need to get the things I need today. So leave everything open. Now give them a path, be organized, but let people play in the store like they want to. Like I go through the store backwards so I can go to electronics before the grocery store, right? That's just what I do. Somebody else may go straight to the grocery store and get out. So I can't decide that for people. So just leave it open, put it all in there, but don't focus too much on content. Content does not give you retention. Content gives you people coming in and what they have to do, but retention comes from, can you be a leader and can you get people to interact with each other? You want them to interact with each other so you don't have to share all that burden of the leadership, right? So doing things as a community, doing things together, that's where most of your attention focus should be. And the content is good and you want to bulk up your content and get everybody what the resources that are necessary. But, like you said, content's 20% of the game. You're 20% of the game. That is like your personality. 20% of the game is a member call. 20% of the game might eventually be forums. There's so many reasons why people stay. We just need to make sure that they're all available for them.
Okay. So, good tips. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's wrap this up here, man. What a fun story. What a great story. I love it, man. This is what everyone should do. Everyone should just do it this way because it's a lot more fun when you're figuring this stuff out when you've actually got paying members. And you don't even have like a podcast or anything, right? Like you just launched a membership with a boosted Facebook post to random people, it sounds like.
Yeah, and so I do have.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I advertised on Facebook, but that's how I got all my members was advertising on Facebook to a cold audience as well. I've now got ConvertKit, and I have a 45-minute dyslexia awareness workshop that it leads into deadline funnel and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So I've got a growing email list. I've got about 500 people on there now. So
jeez, you're going to blow this up. Like it's amazing. We always tell people, guys, just put the product out there. Heck, put an outline out there, product first. And look what happens when you do it. It's like, there's a chance for people to buy, they buy in, you build a community. And as your audience grows, this is going to,
I'm like, this is working.
It has worked. It is going to work. It's working. Like I know people that would like come in and replace you and just take you out to get your 100 members so they could start.
So brilliant. I love it.
So like, and it can be whatever you want it to be, and you just have to decide that. So what do you think the next step is in the next like 24 hours or a week that you need to work on, take action on, and focus on planning so that you can smooth this thing out, make it grow, and replace churn and do all those things?
I think I need to work on retention. I need to go into the blueprint. I need to look at all the information about retention. Definitely need to do that. I think I need to just get really clear on, like I had my promotional cycle because I just heard you talk about it. So I just put it in my plan I've got like a Google, like a spreadsheet doc, and I've got in there the whole year, and I've got planned out for the next 4 weeks what I'm going to do for content, what I'm going to do for promotions and stuff. But I think it's a bit too cut and dry. I think I need to revisit my promotional cycle and maybe try that kind of $1 or the £1 trial every 6 weeks or something like that, and maybe just do more boosted Facebook ads, but make sure my onboarding is better and make sure my retention's better.
Yeah.
I want to do a Google Hangout. I like the idea of a Google Hangout, but I'm filled with self-doubt about the Google Hangout, filled with self-doubt. And I don't know whether that's because I'm kind of hiding behind, maybe, if I'm talking to you about dyslexia, like that's my thing. Like that's what I'm trained in. I'm a teacher. I'm a dyslexia specialist teacher. But, if I go into it, if I set up a Google Hangout and I have a chat with like SEN teachers and Senkos about like, how's your week going? What's tricky? And they ask something that I've got no clue how to fix. I'm worried about, like, I'm immediately thinking about the awkward, I don't know how to fix that.
Lizzie, I have no idea what I'm doing half the time when people ask me questions. Okay. So here's what you do. This is a great thing to do. I've had this happen on Q&As before. I have no idea. What do you guys think? And then all of a sudden you'll see all those little hands raised and you'll see all those comments in the chat, and you've done the one thing you're supposed to do. Is you've pooled the brain power of the group and you've led them to a resolution, right? I'll put all the time, hey, I don't know the answer to that, post it in the forums and the community can discuss it. And all of a sudden other members will find the answers for them, right? So or you can say this, I don't know that, but I'm going to go and look it up for you. And I'm going to circle back and send you an email, right? Or post it in the forums and we'll talk about it later. It's okay.
I like that. Yeah.
It's okay not to know. So just do the things. And also too, one thing I hear missing from your entire strategy, which is hilarious because you got 100 members, but you got to have a public content strategy too. You're going to have to put yourself out there a little bit. I haven't heard anything that's totally I'm just going to create a consistent blog or podcast, or you'd be hilarious on video. I think you'd be awesome on video. Just like a YouTube channel. You should start a YouTube channel just talk about stuff like this. Talk about dyslexia, talk about whatever. And because I think it would be absolutely hysterical. And you're entertaining, you're fun. People would love that. And that way it gives them something to look forward to. So you can grow. You got to grow audience, email list, members in that order. That's how you grow a brand. Okay. So I'm missing the first one. You're missing a lot of stuff, but you got members. You got the most important part, right? So yeah, audience. Okay. Then emails, then members, retention. Those are the 4 components that you need to flesh out. And you're going to kill it. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to make it work because you're going to throw the butt on the wall. So listen, thanks for coming on the podcast today. This has been a blast. And I just love stories like this. And I'm so glad my team was so excited about your story. They all read it and they all thought it was amazing. And they told me as soon as we're done talking, I gotta send it to them so they can listen to the raw file. So we've fired up about this all day. And listen, you're gonna blow it up. You're gonna kill it. You're gonna just stay motivated. You're serving a lot of people. You're doing good in the world. And thank you for sharing all of these fears and craziness, because there's a lot of people like you, Liz. They've been listening for 3 years. They're going to hear this podcast, and you're the reason they're going to finally take the leap today into the Flip Lifestyle community and start a membership of their own. So I appreciate you so much. All right, guys, that wraps up my interview with Lizzie. I hope you enjoyed that podcast as much as I did. Man, my team has been looking forward to this call all week, and it sure delivered because Lizzie is just killing it right now in her membership side. I mean, imagine what 100 people paying you $50 a month, making $60,000 a year. Imagine the choices that would give you in your life. Imagine the security that would give you in this crazy world where the economy is uncertain, our governments are uncertain, everything is uncertain, but being able to take life by the horns and having that control and having that backup plan or having that plan A in your life and going full-time online. All you got to do, guys, is have an idea. All you got to do is go out there to serve. All you got to do is release it into the world. And just like Lizzie, heck, 90 days from now, you could have 100 members paying you every single month, 2 or more. And that's what we do. We help people like Lizzie. We help people like you flip their life upside down, change their family's future forever inside the Flip Lifestyle community. Listen, we'd love to have you inside our community. We'd love to give you some free resources. We've got a ton of stuff to help you get started on your journey over at flippedlifestyle.com. So if you want to check out free resources, if you want to look at the community, if you want to jump in feet first and make those great things happen for you and your family and your life as well, head over to flippedlifestyle.com. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com. We'd love to show you everything that we do to help people start, build, launch, grow, and scale online membership businesses. That's flippedlifestyle.com, FLIPPED lifestyle.com. Go check out all the amazing resources we have for you and your family today. All right, guys, that's almost all the time we have for today, but I want to leave you a Bible verse. You know, Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible. There's a lot of good stuff in there, guys, a lot of wisdom about business and life. And I've got a good one today on our theme of how courageous Lizzie was to launch this membership with almost nothing and see it happen, man. So my Bible verse that I picked for you guys today is Numbers chapter 13, verse 20. The Bible says, "And whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are trees in it or not, be of good courage and bring some of the fruit of the land." So go out there, guys. You don't have to look at the lay of the land. You don't have to wait for the right time. It doesn't matter rich or poor. It doesn't matter if there's trees blooming or not. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. All that matters is that you take action. You go plant those seeds and you see what fruit comes to bear because of it. Lizzie planted a seed of a pre-sale page with nothing created and a boosted Facebook post, and it bloomed into 100 members. And I believe that if you'll just have courage and you'll just go out there and you'll plant your seeds, you're going to see some great fruit bloom from that as well. That's all the time I've got for this week, guys. I appreciate you for listening to us every single week. Make sure you tell a friend or a relative about the Flipped Lifestyle podcast. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single episode. And hey, go leave us a review. It really helps us to spread our message of hope around the world. So until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip life.
Bye. I hope so. Thank you so much for having me on. Can we have a chat again next month? Then you can tell me what else I need to do. That'd be great. Thank you.
That one might cost you. That one might cost you a little bit. I'm not saying. Awesome. We can have a chat twice a month on the Q&As. I'm on the Q&As. I'll push you to the front of the line for a couple calls. Okay.